Hey guys, it's Maxie here and welcome to another edition of TEW. Join us for our latest tournament, which is the WWE Tag Team Invitational, to see who is the best tag team in the WWE. Of course, we're in October 2021, so a few more tournaments to go. We've got the Mae Young Classic, and then we've got the World Grand Prix, and then we kick on to Survivor Series, and then firmly on the road to WrestleMania. So before we kick in, as always, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Of course, any comments on the series, your own series, and wrestling in general, let us know. Likes, subscriptions, all that jazz, appreciated. And of course, don't forget to check out the Fantasy Booker subreddit and the Grey Dog software forums. So, we crack on with this. We do it yearly. As the previous winners, Detroit Machine Guns, no longer with the company. Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, the Golden Lovers, no longer with as a tag team. They've split up. And our other winners, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, split up. So it doesn't bode well for the winners of this tournament, but you never know. We might actually have a tag team that sticks. So we've decided to book it in British Columbia. So it's just a 50,896 crowd here in comparison to the usual 60,000 we would get. It is our first show in this particular region of Canada since April 2020, so we may have a lower rating here, but it gives us an opportunity to go to an arena we haven't been to in a while. So we start the show. My user character, Shane McMahon, and he just says, due to the nuisance, the stable known as the Magnificent Seven will see its members Volta, Marcel Barthel, Will Ospreay, Switchblade and Marty Scurll ejected from the arena to allow, only going to be the manager Paul Heyman and the tag team My Generation of Pete Dunne and Noam Dar. So they've been ejected, so a bit of a promo there as they get escorted, told if they don't leave they're fired. B plus 85, Paul Heyman helps a lot of guys there, which is obviously their manager, so they might be a wee boost for that. Marcel Barthel getting good at his gimmick, that's good to see. Show off their strong start. Crowd hotter. And Switchblade is getting better at his gimmick as well, so that's promising. Good to see that they are slowly but surely getting over what looked lost, but hopefully, as I say, it can help him in the long run. So we start off, first match in the first round, and it was about they had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat. My Generation defeated the Authors of Pain in 14-10 when Pete Dunne defeated Rezar by pinfall. Just a B minus 75 because of no real storyline attached, and of course a limited amount of time. The storyline link there is because, of course, the tag feud that My Generation are in. But they had better performances here to their counterparts. They got the crowd hotter, but yeah, they booked their place into the semi-finals with that win. So I went one less round than the Cruiserweight Classic. I just felt like we didn't have as many tag teams as we would have had Cruiserweight wrestlers. Next up is another first round match. And it was a decent match that saw Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado defeat the Revival in 13-38 when Gran Metalik defeated Scott Dawson with the Springboard Dragon Rana. Continues the great impressive form of the Luchador tag team. Pretty impressive B82. Good performances from both of them. You could argue actually all four, and that's with Gran Metalik off his game. But overall, pleasing. And that means in the semi-finals we will see My Generation take on Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado. We then had a little feud, two former tag team partners that split up, and it was a decent match that saw Cesaro defeat Chris Hero in 12-12 with the neutralizer. A B78 here, really giving Cesaro one last push as a singles wrestler before his stats get torn apart because of declining physical ability. Both guys hampered by this and the fact it's holding back, but Cesaro picks up the win. Our third first round match saw a decent matchup that saw the tag team of Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin defeat the Briscoes in 11-31 when Baron Corbin defeated Mark Briscoe with the End of Days. A respectable B80, but of course Strowman and Corbin are that over that they can get that kind of rating. Not too bad by the Briscoes. We're kind of using them as more kind of, they'll get a few wins, but more so putting people over, just adding depth to our tag division. But the ever dangerous tag champions of Corbin and Strowman are in the last four. And the final first round match are about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose defeated the Coffey brothers in 1444 when Seth Rollins defeated Mark Coffey with God's Last Gift. So a B+ 84, impressive there. Good performances all round. Mark and Joe eventually will get to that next level, but well, with the likes of Rollins and Ambrose kicking about, the tag division is where they'll stay. But on this day, it is two of the three members of the Shield who do prevail. We then get a promo from Zack Sabre Jr., of course, the winner of the Cruiserweight Classic last week, and of course the new Cruiserweight Champion. He's just basically mocked Shane Strickland, just saying he's the man, he's going to carry this division, and it's a shame that Strickland's stuck over on Raw. No longer the case though, as Shane Strickland is confirmed as a new member of SmackDown, and it's about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from our crowd. Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Shane Strickland in 1943 by submission with a senior stretch. Zack Sabre Jr. makes the second defence of the Cruiserweight Championship. So, decent win for Zack Sabre Jr. He's really improved in terms of overness because of the momentum gained. Great in-ring performance as well. And the storyline advances. Maybe not as hot as we'd like it to be, but if we can keep working on that, if they get another match down the line, it could be any match. So we'll change the gimmick anyway of Shane Strickland. I've been meaning to do that for a while, and a fan favourite gimmick was above average. First semi-final, the decent match saw My Generation, Pete Dunne and Noam Dar, defeat Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado in 1502 when Pete Dunne defeated Gran Metalik by pinfall. A B78, really pushing over how dominant and how good this tag team is. You know, the future is in good hands with My Generation. But four very good athletes, and it means My Generation, with the help of Paul Heyman, could be about to capture, I was going to say some gold, but a tournament, a trophy, a cup, I suppose, if you will. Then we've got Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman hyping up their match with Rollins and Ambrose, just basically saying they're just going to demolish them and they're going to show they are the most dominant force in this company, whether Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. So that's an A93. The match itself had great wrestling and good heat, and it saw Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose defeat Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin in 21:49 when Dean Ambrose defeated Corbin following a distraction from Matt Jackson. So a B+85 is pretty good, considering Seth Rollins was off his game. So if he's on his game, he's probably looking at about a 94 performance. You're probably wondering why the Young Bucks aren't in the tournament. I decided because of the injury to Nick Jackson, it was just going to take too much a toll on him, so I just felt like leave them out, cause them a distraction against Strowman and Corbin, and that continues their feud going forward. But that means, of course, a final. The winner of the Tag Team Invitational is going to be Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose against Pete Dunne and Noam Dar, and that is, of course, now confirmed as our main event as well. So we just got a few things. Becky Lynch is just hyping up a promo. She's not in a match tonight, but she's basically saying she's going to win back her Women's Championship. And next week, our next video, of course, will be the 4th annual Mae Young Classic. So she's going to prove that she's going to be the woman that takes that back and wins her first Mae Young Classic. Women's match we had actually was quite spectacular, a B+86 considering the amount of participants involved. But the decent matchup saw Ronda Rousey, Laurel Van Ness, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan and Sasha Banks defeat Mia Yim, Charlotte Page, the talented Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm in 17:35 when Ronda defeated Mia with the armbar. What a good performances there, everyone over 70, so that's good to see. What I will say for the Mae Young Classic is two things. Disappointing that the lack of Hot Society storyline, the Becky and Ronda one's pretty over, so that could have been better. But yeah, going into the Mae Young Classic, I'd like to confirm that Sarah Logan will not be taking part. She was suspended for the way she was acting. It was an incident, and she was just decided to suspend her. So she's gone for 28 days. I want to try and get as many female athletes in as possible, so I'm thinking, don't want to give them too many matches because obviously stamina is going to be a big factor, and I do want them to try and get that A rating to conclude it. So I may look at making either triple threat matches or fatal four-ways all the way through the tournament, well, for the first round at least, and then semis and then final. So we might look at 16, but then 16 goes into 4, and then 4 into 2 for the final. So I might do that, but that is still to be determined. But of course, comment section, please let me know who you think is going to win the Mae Young Classic. Remember, 2 wins for Sasha, which is quite surprising, and 1 for Charlotte. Getting a promo from Samoa Joe, hyping up the big 10-man tag coming up. Obviously, he's just wanting to prove to Okada, he says he's going to take his championship, and yeah, he's just making his life hell, and Okada is just, it's a ticking time bomb basically before Samoa Joe takes his championship. That's really what he's alluding to. And that 10-man tag was fantastic. But they had good wrestling and decent reaction from the audience. The Velveteen Dream, Samoa Joe, Tommaso Ciampa, The Miz and Kevin Owens defeated Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn and Johnny Gargano, and Okada in 23:07 when Ciampa defeated Adam Cole after using a foreign object. However, we did have Fergal Devitt distract Adam Cole as well. So a good win there for the heels. It's building them over. I feel like there's a lot of them I need to protect because the babyfaces do get the bigger wins at the pay-per-views, usually. And even if they do lose, there's an underdog story there. So quite a good few performances, a lot of high 80s, a few low 90s, so that's good to see. Storylines advance, a couple of skill improvements is always good, and just a few negatives, painkillers and inconsistencies. So it leads us up to our main event. We have a promo from Paul Heyman and his clients, Pete Dunne and Noam Dar, and they just basically say they're going to take this championship back. They're going to add to Marcel Barthel's IC title and just show that the Magnificent Seven truly are magnificent. So all good there. Can't really complain. Let's see how the match does. I'm hoping it can really go as well as the last one. Let's find out. Not as good as the last one, which is a bit disappointing. Last time the two faced each other, it was an A-star 95, but still good regardless, 99. About that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Rollins and Ambrose defeat My Generation in 24-23 when Dean Ambrose defeated Noam Dar with Dirty Deeds, meaning that the new winners of the Tag Team Invitational are of course Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. So much better performances for Ambrose and Rollins. I'm going to assume fatigue's maybe one reason why this maybe wasn't as good. I'm sure they'd make it slow build, yep, so I would believe it would just be, it's really just inconsistencies, motivations. Overall, still a pretty good event, and hopefully it raises the profile of My Generation. So finish the show with Ambrose and Rollins with the trophy. And overall, a B plus 87, so that's been hampered because we've used Noam Dar too much. It's one little disappointing thing with tournaments. If you do use a wrestler for a couple of rounds, and obviously takes up a bit more time than it used to, it can hamper your show, but we're in that awkward position. We're not really losing heat, we're not really gaining heat, we're just kind of, well, having shows, effectively, but again, it's all about giving different people the opportunities and building up new stars. That's why we seek to do these type of tournaments. So we'll go with Noam Dar and Pete Dunne, just because obviously it was the first proper, real, massive run we've given them. So both of them came out looking pleased. But that's good. That takes us into November. Amazing how quickly this year's flew in game. Before we know it's going to be the Royal Rumble. I need to start planning for WrestleMania, which at this moment in time, I don't have a clue. So 50,000, fantastic reviews, nice wee picture of Dusty Rhodes there. Dragon Gates in Crisis. No, they're not. Try this every time, it never works. So, okay, cool. Adam Brooks, that's fine. Yeah, nothing massive there. Okay, so we have Martin St. Hubbins with a very strange face pack. Let's have a look at him. Strong performance. Yeah. He's a cruiserweight trained in the WWE Performance Center. He joined the world of pro wrestling in November 2021. New Yorker is 5'9" with 212 pounds and naturally plays a heel. He can play oddball characters very well. He utilises the Wind Spirit Knee as his finisher. So I'm assuming the mask will make him a bit strange, so we'll probably change his picture completely to something whatever is in the face back, to something that goes with that kind of trait of a natural heel. But yeah, that's what it is. Any development, and you go to Lucha Underground to develop a bit more and gain some overness. I will always sign any graduate just to give them a chance in development. National battles for the last month there. First in the US, Canada, Mexico and Japan, so that's good to see. DirecTV were unhappy with that. That was obviously in pay-per-view. The next event is going to be on the network, so that shouldn't be too bad. But every so often we just don't get that great rating. It happens. So there you go. Dean Ambrose suffers due to how many matches he was in. 3.60 in the pay-per-view buy rate, and Liv Morgan doesn't like Razor. We live in a world where Liv Morgan is a locker room leader. Who'd have thought? Very seen it. Next up, Mae Young Classic, then World Grand Prix. So that's our 2 tournaments. Then we head into Survivor Series. So that'll be the first 2 weeks of November. It's all my other pay-per-views that we've stole from NXT when we bought them over. You can see there, Survivor Series at the end of the month. Then we have a wee break to Armageddon, TLC, and then we jump into the Rumble. I may do a tribute to the troops as well. Still, again, to be determined. But we're firing through the episodes quite rapidly. I can get a bit of a chore, try to do 4 shows during the week, but it's to just ensure the company's in the best place going forward, and we are getting new people pushed, so I can work on their overness in NXT. And you just need to look at Marcel Barthel for the key case of that being effective. So Ambrose, 90 odd overness, good to see. Seth, 90 odd overness. Did we get a push for Noam Dar? Just above 70. Pete Dunne, 80. So yeah, that did work for Pete Dunne. We'll just quickly check his popularity. You can see there he's slowly but surely gaining, and hopefully we can push him into the main event. As I say, the plan was with Magnificent 7 all to be main eventers within 18 months, I'd say, from the group's debut. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for if you stuck with us and watched it all. Let us know what you thought of it. Are you happy with a change in winner, going with a tag team like Rollins and Ambrose, 2 main eventers that have bonded together to take on a bigger cause, a group such as the Magnificent 7. So let me know what you think of that. What do you think of the Magnificent 7 so far? If another question I can put to you is, if you had 7 superstars to put in that kind of group, who would you pick? They can be in WWE right now, NXT, or the Indies, or whatnot. But as always, cheers for watching, much appreciated. Let me know who you think is going to win the Mae Young Classic, and join us next Sunday for the video that will be the Mae Young Classic. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.